this 1978 Trans Am behind us, and as you can see, we got my Budweiser hat on. We got to make a trip. We got to go pick up 30 tons of Budweiser beer contraband and bring it back. We have 28 hours to do so in, but the problem is this car is not ready to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump into this thing and get this Bandit Trans Am ready to go. So in their second video, they said that the fuel system was pretty much ready to go. I'm taking a look at this here, and I can see they put their fuel rails in, but if you look right here, there's no line connecting to the engine. So I said, let's go take a look at the gas tank. And I get underneath, there's no gas tank. Do you want to know where it is? It's over there. There's nothing connected to this. And over here we have their lines. These are the lines that they said they connected. Jeez. And while they've been slacking all this time, they got all the parts sitting here, and we see a box of tissues for all their tears. Alright, now we're going to have to put this thing together because these guys obviously aren't doing anything. Now what are these doohickeys here? So these look like snowmobile pickups. In these old-timey cars, the fuel is picked up by just a metal pipe that goes into the fuel tank. You didn't have to worry much about sloshing cars around because nobody is really driving like that, I guess. But nowadays with fuel injection, you don't want to have your pump go dry, and because that can burn the pump out. So what you need to do with these cars, when you're either need to move to a fuel injection bucket, which would keep a certain amount of fuel sort of in the pump area to keep it from burning out, or you can move on to something like this. So with these snowmobile pucks, they have a valve inside, and you see that there's 3 of them there. And what we'll do is we'll place them like this, on opposite ends, one in the center of the tank, and then we'll connect that to the regular pickup, and then that line will go through this filter here, which is also our fuel pressure regulator, and then to this inline external Walbro fuel pump. And then it goes through the regular GM style fittings and vinyl line, which is the way the factory runs the fuel lines. Some people like to use the AN fittings and braided line. The reason that we're not using something like that is, 1, because we're cheap, and 2, this is actually more reliable. That's why the factory uses this. You shouldn't use braided lines on your fuel lines, and people realize that after they've gone ahead and put the fancy pretty looking braided lines on their cars, and they come into their garage and the garage smells like gas, because those lines, they do weep a bit and you still get that that smell coming through. So when you have something like this car which sits around for long periods of time, you don't want those fancy stainless braided lines, and you want to use something that the factory uses. That way, in case you're out for a drive somewhere and something, God forbid, you get a breakdown, you have like a cut or whatever you need to do, make a replacement. You can pull over, you can go to your local parts store, and you get a replacement parts, and then be on your way. So that's why we're doing this. So what we're going to do is we're going to put all these parts they have sitting around, we're going to put these together, get them into that tank over there, and then we'll put this tank inside, and we'll do what they said they did in the second video. We've got this mocked up. We're going to have to make a store run to get some of the parts, but just to explain how this works. So you got the 3 pickups there you can see in the blue on the left, right, and center of the tank, going through those black corrugated lines into that splitter, and then it goes through that white corrugated line. That replaces the pickup sock that was on here before, and it's going to go to that shiny metal part right there. That black piece that you see, that's the fuel level sensor, and we'll retain that because that way we don't need to change our gauges. And it goes through that pipe there, down and around over to here, into that rubber fuel line, into the fuel pump, over to the filter / pressure regulator. There's going to be another line. You can see that it's empty there, so it's going to go, a line will run from there, that's the return line. It'll go back over to where you see this rubber line here, and that's for any excess fuel gets dumped back into the fuel tank. So on the outlet side of the filter fuel pressure regulator, we go into the Dorman style fitting that goes to the vinyl stock style fuel lines. and we follow that all the way over here, which goes to the engine, right into the fuel rails, and that's how the fuel is going to get into the engine.
We found all these contraptions that they had sitting around in the shop. Some computer machine magnets, some strapping, drilled to 21/64 to fit over top of the Walbro pickups. The pickups again are the MP15s for the flow through, and the MP12s to go on the ends. So the outer ones are MP12s, the middle one is MP15. We've got just generic computer machine hard drive magnets here, and just regular strapping that was drilled 21/64 just to fit over this piece here. And when this goes in the tank, the purpose of the computer magnets is keep these pickups right down to the ground, right where they should be, keep them from flopping around inside the tank and going for a swim. So what we're going to do now is we need a hole to stick these buggers into that tank. That hole is too small, so we're going to cut one out right here. This is sort of a high point of the tank. What we're going to be cutting that with is this here Dremel. We need to get some safety protection, and we're just going to cut out a small square, enough just to get the pickups through. We'll push them into place where they need to go, and then once that's all done, we're going to take this aluminum plate, we're going to cut this to size, put it over top, put some sealant, fuel resistant sealant in between, and screw it right in, and then this tank is good to go. So I'm going to go grab some eye protection and get right to it. So we got that hole cut out in this bugger, and you're probably all wondering, why are these guys using this rusted out old tank? Well, this is actually just surface flash rust. There is no rust inside the tank. The tank inside is actually quite clean. You'll be able to see it here. The inside of the tank is in pretty good shape. So it's just surface rust on the outside. It's just like a flash rust because the protective coating that was on there was wire wheeled off 10 years ago. So it just needs to be wire wheeled again and painted to make it look pretty. We can see inside all the lines that we had put in together. There you see the pickup on the right hand side. It's being held down by the magnet. And then when we look over to that other side, sorry for making you go upside down and sideways, and you see on the far side, so the left hand side of the tank, you see there's another pickup over there, and also the magnet holding that one down. And then we have the third pickup right here. So I'm just going to reach my hand in there, just make sure that they're flat, and then we are pretty much done. Just need to go ahead and put this top plate on here, and then that's it. That's a wrap here. Everything has been installed inside. We went through how the fuel system works, how this is going to work, and why these pickups were used in this system. I'm not going to get under the car to install this fuel tank. The Haircuts boys can figure that out on their own, and I just don't want to get my beautiful red shirt dirty. So that is a wrap for today. I think I've done more than enough to help these guys, and hopefully this gives them that little push to finally get this thing running. So stay tuned, catch these guys later, and remember to like and subscribe their content. Hopefully they'll start pumping up some videos again.